Hi guys, it's Demeter here, and I am out on the trail and looking for some wild edibles. Spring has sprung. It's the second week of April. I'm in one of my favorite hiking spots, Tuckahoe State Park, and I'm pretty excited because there are just a load of things sprouting up. So I just want to see what you can find right now in this area of the Mid-Atlantic. Here's something that you can find right now growing just about anywhere in Maryland, Virginia, Delaware, southern parts of Pennsylvania, North Carolina, pretty much all over the Mid-Atlantic. And I don't know if you can see, but lining this forest road are these little purple plants. You see them there? We actually have a couple of different, we have several wild edibles growing right here. So this right here, we have something called Henbit, also called purple Henbit. It is Lamium, which is a member of the mint family. And you can tell mints by their irregular flowers. See that? Those little flowers. And they also have square stems. You can, I don't know if you can see the stem here, but you can certainly feel the square stem when you roll it between your fingers. So this is Lamium purpurea, also called purple dead nettle or purple henbit. But right next to it we have several other wild edibles. We actually have some chickweed growing right here beside it. You see the little, it looks like 10 petals on the flowers, but it's actually 5 petals that are split. And you see the little the pods here, and they have fuzzy round stems, alternate clasping leaves. These are small ones. It's kind of the end of the season. Right here, next to the purple dead nettle, here's something that looks very similar. This is also called henbit, and it's also in the same family, the mint family, also Lamium. This is, let's see if I can get this name right, amplexicaule. So it's slightly different. It has like rounded opposite leaves, still has the square stem, rounded opposite leaves. And look at those bright pink flowers, flower buds, and look at that pretty little irregular flower. These are all edible. I just saw some bittercress. Where'd it go? Oh, here it is. This is a member of the mustard family. Really tiny. Those are actually seed pods. We're going to see if we can find some other, like brassicas, some wild field mustard. This is all related to the mustard family, or all the mustards are related. Very similar. You see those little seed pods. And inside are teeny tiny seeds, and if we find a larger one, we can actually open them up and you can make mustard from those seeds. But this part, this whole plant is edible. And it's very nice and peppery. It's kind of hard to tell with these. You kind of just get used to seeing the seed pods and being able to recognize these plants. They have 4 petals to the flowers that form a cross. And that's why they're called cruciferous or cruciform, and they're all in the brassica family. And then we have one more over here, so that's 3 wild edibles just in the spot. Onion, field onion. You know it's onion and not an other like a poisonous iris if it has this mustard smell to it. Here you go. That's a pretty good shot of those 4-petaled flowers on the mustard. You see that there? This is great. I'm just kind of crawling along here, and in this small section finding all these. There's one more here I want to show you. And this is really yummy eating right here. Little spring violet. Isn't that pretty? And yet another different edible right here. It's a chickweed. And this is Cerastium. Vulgare is how I know it. This is the mouse-eared chickweed. So you see it's very fuzzy. The leaves are fuzzy. It's a little different habit than this chickweed right here. So that's pretty exciting. Let's see what else we find today. Here we have some May apples that are just springing up. And all parts above ground of this plant right now are poisonous, but in the late summer, early fall, you will find little green apples growing right underneath this little umbrella of green leaves. Here's a mayapple. It has in the leaf axil, you have the beginning of a little fruit. So we don't want to eat it at this point. Remember, all parts of the plant are poisonous until you have a ripe fruit, and then it's only the fruit that's edible, the inside of the fruit. Looks like we might have another good mayapple harvest this year. Here we have a little bit of spring beauty. Claytonia virginiana. And they are pretty. These pretty little white 5-petaled flowers streaked with pinkish purple. And the leaves, you see those, they almost look like grass. And as far as the spring beauties go, you eat the corms, which I'm not going to dig any up right now, but they're best in the fall right before they send up their flowers. Little teeny tiny bulbs that are edible. And look at that field of spring beauties. It's as far as you can see into the woods. It's really pretty. Now they are right next to something called Bloodroot Sanguinaria. I'm trying to think of what the genus is on these. These are really pretty. Look at that leaf. You see these all over the woods. These were used medicinally by Indians, but for our purposes, we're going to consider these toxic. Here is a bottom. We have a ton of these. It's titled Wetlands, and it's covered with skunk cabbage. You see that there. It's beautiful to look at, and definitely a harbinger of spring. The only problem is it's not edible. Don't ever try to eat skunk cabbage. It's very high in oxalates, which is something that forms, it's like little tiny crystals that can cause crazy damage to your kidneys if you ever try to eat them. And this, look at this, isn't that neat? I wonder what lives in there. I would say that hole is about 18 inches to 2 feet across. I'm standing here on the bridge. Pretty cool. Something that I really love. This is one of my favorite spring edibles. They're violet greens. And you see the flowers, or the leaves, I'm sorry, they're these heart-shaped leaves that are smooth. Slightly toothed at the margins. And they unfurl. See how these are unrolling right there? Aren't those beautiful? The flowers and the greens are edible raw. I'm on the side of the road here, but I am super excited because this is where I get my Japanese knotweed. You can barely see it because it blends so well. But look at how this is growing out of the ground with these clasping stems. It's going to end up being 3, 4, 5 feet tall. Here's a good sample here when it's starting to open up its leaves. You see that? And it has this segmented, and if you break this open, this is actually a noxious invasive, so I'm not damaging anything by cutting this off. It is actually hollow on the inside. This stuff is delicious. Steam it very lightly. This is about the perfect size for picking right here. Okay, that's about 6 to 8 inches long. Perfect. You cut it off, steam it very lightly, and it tastes like a lemony asparagus. But you really want to go easy on the steaming because it's hollow. It doesn't require a lot of steaming, and it becomes mushy really quickly. But this stuff is awesome, awesome, awesome. So I'm going to have to come back and harvest a bunch of it. I know what I'll be having for dinner tonight. Yummy. So right now I'm on this marginal area of the park. I have to do a little road walking to get back onto the trail. And I'm seeing a little bit of wild strawberry runners. Of course, too early for the strawberries. And we have the ever-present dandelion, which we can eat the greens. We can eat the corm, which is the top part of the root. We have to dig down a little bit. I'm not a big fan of dandelions. I don't like the greens. I find them too bitter. Looks like a little bit of a primrose rosette right next to the onion. Here we have a nice stand of daylilies that are just getting to come up. Daylily greens are delicious. You can also eat the roots and the flowers of the Hemerocallis fulva, which is the wild daylily in the area. But a word of caution that some daylilies can cause some gastric upset. I know that from experience. So if you're not sure about the daylilies, you start out very small with just a couple nibbles and work your way up. Right here, next to the growing in amongst the daylilies, see those reddish leaves? That's more of the Japanese knotweed. Here's some garlic mustard. You can see the rosettes. The basil rosette. It's a biennial. So the first year it lays down a little rosette. And here's another one. See right there? And then the second year, during growing season, we'll go ahead and send up a stalk. It'll be about 2 feet high, maybe higher, 3 feet. And it's a member of the mustard family. Of the flower, the four, see that? The cruciform. And these buds look a lot like you'd see on a head of broccoli before it opens into flower. And these are edible and good. Pretty spicy, but nice little trail nibble. And the easiest way to tell a garlic mustard is rip off a piece of the leaf, crush it up, and smell it. You'll be able to smell a very distinct garlicky odor. Here we have something called Dentaria or Dentaria, which is toothwort. This is, I believe it's cut-leafed toothwort. Once again, you have that cross-shaped. The petals, you see the 4 petals right there? It's coming up from a single stem. You have a single axis for your 3. This one has the 3 leaves. And then this little flower head. So there's a lot of this in this area, this Dentaria. I don't want to harvest anything from an area that doesn't have a lot of it growing, because that's how we practice our sustainability. But we're going to dig this up, and then we'll show you guys what the tuber looks like. So there's a little piece of the, here's a little piece of the tuber for the Dentaria. And This one broke off. I didn't bring a knife, so I'm using my fingers. Isn't that nice? And this would make like a nice little horseradish substitute. You can grind it up, mix it with a little vinegar, salt, or you can just eat it as is, but it can be pretty spicy. Just a word of warning. Trout lilies. Isn't that pretty? That little flower. The variegated leaves in the iris family. This is a little spot where I always find them. I don't harvest a lot of stuff when I come out here. I just enjoy looking at it and I know where to find it. I think it's a good idea to be able to know how to identify plants if there's an emergency. But I don't need to eat it. I brought some trail food. I'll just enjoy these plants today. Almost forgot the pine trees. I'm on my way out of the woods and we are in this big pine forest. The pines we have here are Pinus taida. They're also called loblolly pines. And here are some of the needles on the ground. This time of year, the needles are loaded with vitamin C. You can make them into a tea, or what I do is just nibble on them while I'm walking in the woods. Gives me lots of antioxidants. They're bitter, but that's the vitamin C. But you get used to it. So now I'm back home and cleaned up. I had a great day of hiking, especially considering how early in the season it is. I can't wait to find some more stuff in the weeks to come. I hope you learned something, but remember this video is only a guide. Never eat anything unless you are 100% positive of the plant's identity. In closing, this is Demeter reminding you that the Mother Earth will always provide for us as long as we respect her. Happy hiking!